I'd like to introduce our second guest, who is Chris Goodson with Goodson Law Offices, and he is also a developer, and a developer in a big way. So, Chris, please introduce yourself and what your endeavors are.
Sure. Christopher Goodson here. I'm an attorney, but I've been investing in real estate since 2001. Bought my first apartment building the day before September 11th in 2001. So I got off to a interesting start in Jersey City, right across from Manhattan. Since then, I've been doing a lot of different type of investing. I founded the New Jersey Real Estate Investment Club. So for the last 10 years, we've been running an organization similar to many of the other RIAs, and currently doing 7 rehabs. So I have since done tons of different types of real estate deals, from apartment buildings through development, and now I'm doing a lot of rehabbing. So I got 7 rehabs going on right now, including some through Patch of Land. And my law office is a 5-attorney firm out of Montclair, New Jersey, and we represent crowdfunding, such as Patch of Land.
Wonderful. That's amazing. And so you're doing 7 rehabs at once, and how many of those have you done with Patch of Land?
Well, I've done 5 deals with Patch of Land so far. Right now we've got 1 really premium house, and then I've got 2 other houses that we did a blanket loan on that's still outstanding. Those are both under contract to sell. Those rehabs are complete. But we just finished 1 major rehab, put $150,000, $170,000 into a single family house right here in Montclair, New Jersey.
Chris, I'm going to share my screen so you can tell us about the deal that you have on Patch of Land. So give me one moment here, and I'll share my screen. All right, so let me know. Do you guys see the screen that I'm on?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. And so we'll just scroll down, and we'll come back to this deal in a moment, Jason. I know you wanted to say something about the newest deal on your platform, but let's first kind of go through the deal here. So this is the upscale full rehab in growing Montclair, New Jersey. And the floor is yours, Chris.
Okay, so Montclair happens to be my hometown. I've done other deals in Montclair, which is why I was so confident about this. A couple of blocks from this house, we had recently done a very similar transaction. Now, we borrowed $321,000. Our purchase price was around $300,000. We had put some money down towards the purchase in the beginning, all right? So we had put some of our own skin in the game. But then we started doing the rehab, and we've spent about $150,000, maybe $170,000 in the rehab process. So Patch of Land was able to fund the majority of the acquisition, and then at least the first 3/4 of the rehab. Now, the rehab is just finished up recently, and we had to put in a good chunk of our own money, but that was at those last few stages. So it was the majority of the acquisition and then the majority of the rehab itself. We did a complete gut rehab. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath house. And we did everything from a new heating system, cooling systems, full kitchen. The kitchen was completely gutted, all the bathrooms gutted. It was the definition of a complete gut rehab.
And if I can step in, projects like this is what makes crowdfunding so appealing. So on one end, I've got a borrower like Chris, who Chris, if you don't mind me saying so, is a high-income individual with an amazing credit profile, an amazing reputation in the industry himself, with a project in a very high-end community. That just the numbers make perfect sense, and we're able to show returns on this at 12 or 13% to our investors. And not only is it backed by a guy like Chris, but it's also backed by a first position lien on the title. So there's a good level of security for our investors in this, and we're able to pay out monthly on that. And these are type of opportunities that perhaps a potential investor wouldn't have access to otherwise, because maybe they don't know guys like Chris. Maybe they haven't been in the real estate industry. They don't have the time, or the experience, or the skill set necessary to work within the real estate industry, but Chris does. And what we're doing is just bringing these 2 groups of people together.
And also, that person may not have $400,000. I'm not going to crowdfund my own website If you had $400,000 or $500,000, and I might borrow it from you, but if you've only got $100,000 to put in a deal, you need to work with somebody else in order to a crowdfunding site to make that happen. And a little bit more about this project. Montclair has got 5 train stops in it. So this is a commuter trip, and I always make this assumption, into Manhattan. When I say commuting, I mean into New York City. So that's part of what made this project so desirable.
Wonderful, and I like kind of the user interface here, because I see if our viewers are familiar with kind of your traditional Kickstarter, it does kind of look like that. I like how you guys, even though it's a very complex financial transaction that you're doing here, you're making it very easy to understand the details of the deal, how you're coming up with what the after repair value is, the ARV. So I do like the fact that you actually had an appraisal. And this appraised value, is this an actual appraisal company that went in to actually do this?
Sure. Let me jump in there. So we got a third-party appraisal on the property. Now that's $600. We've already gotten unsolicited offers in excess of $600. This property should easily go for between $650,000 and $700,000. So that appraisal was for a house in average condition. So a house without the granite countertops and without brand new redone was $600,000. So when you compared it to the sales of other houses, that's what they came in at with. So we were at 70% of appraised value, and that's of ARV. When we say ARV, it means after repaired value. But the numbers are actually much lower than that 70% because a premium house in today's market sells quickly. Right now in northern New Jersey, and different markets are different, a house that is completely rehabbed is selling very, very quickly. While this is still a buyer's market, if the property is not in premium condition, they're saying, next, show me the next house. So a fully rehabbed house sells quickly. One that needs just a little bit of work sits. And I always use the comparison. When I bought my house in Montclair 11 years ago, I said, wow, there's no half bath on the first floor. My guests need to go all the way upstairs to use the bathroom. You know what? I better jump on this house because it's a tight market. So I put in the half bath myself. Today, people walk into a house and go, I don't like the color. Show me the next house. That's how the changes happen.
Yeah.
A house that looks good will sell quick. I'll have this. We are having our first open house on this Sunday. I expect to have this property under contract within a week, 2 weeks at the most. But that shows you how much the market's changed to needing that quality product.
Yeah. And the market always changes towards what someone thinks is good and what someone thinks is not, depending on what everything else is going around them. So you always have to keep up with that. So it's tough, but you guys obviously seem like you know what to do.
Yeah, we do traditional underwriting as well. We're a little bit different than most crowdfunding sites in that we find people like Chris, we find projects like the one he's discussing here. We'll curate and underwrite them internally ourselves. And when we've come to a decision that we like that project and we think our investors will like that project, we'll actually fund it ahead of time. So we use internal capital, and we'll make that project move and make that project actually happen. And then we bring it out to the crowd. So the crowd knows that we already have our money into it. That project is going to happen. Whether we get it crowdfunded to the complete amount or whether somebody only puts in $1 and that's it. That project is definitely going to happen. We believe in our borrowers. We believe in people like Chris. We believe in our projects. It also allows us to move very, very quickly. It allows us to bring the best deals to the crowd as opposed to putting a large amount out and hoping that some of the crowd likes some of them.
Very interesting, and I kind of like this table here that we're looking at, the capitalization table. So you're not. So Chris came to it with $50,000 of his own money. So he came with the $50,000 down payment, but the rest you didn't only fund the purchase price. You're also funding the rehab costs. So that's actually amazing. So essentially, you're doing hard money lending on the internet, but are your rates lower than a hard money lender?
Yeah, we try and make sure that we're very, very competitive, more reliable, more flexible, and faster in each local market that we go into. So the rates are different. New Jersey and New York tend to have higher rates than California might. Florida is about midway in between, California and New York. Texas tends to be very, very flush with capital, so the rates are a little bit lower. But we do tend to make sure that we are appealing to our borrowers. Our borrowers are customers as well as our investors. Nearly all of our borrowers, our developers, have come back to us for additional funding because we've been able to provide a really good service and at a good rate.
Excellent. And I just want to scroll through this just for a little bit. The next question, I guess, is once this project got approved to be listed on patch of land, how fast did this project close?
So once we had negotiated with Chris, we had the appraisals done, we had the underwriting done, the investment committee looked it over and signed off on it. We were able to fund it within just a matter of days. So at that point, it just comes down to how quickly can the project close, how quickly Chris makes it easy because he's an attorney. But how can we get representation on our side to make sure that the project happens out there in New Jersey, get the title work done and so on. Generally, it happens within days. Once we've decided that we want to close on a project, it usually is in the borrowers, the developers' court at that point to let us know how quickly they can close. We, from start to finish, from getting a loan application or a project application on our site, we can close generally in about 7 business days.
That's really fast. Yeah, it's quick.
Oh, it tends to be a lot better than what most of the competition can actually do out there, especially concerning the bank. So, and that's that's necessary in this particular market. These deals move fast. Mm-hmm. Chris might have a project that he needs to get funding for in a matter of days. If he doesn't, he might lose it. These are high opportunity projects in a growing market, and our ability to pre-fund them and make it happen quickly allows us to bring the best projects to our investors.
Absolutely, speed is so important in this kind of market. So you guys definitely.
Let me just add to that. Most of the time, we're buying distressed properties, which means we're putting in offers claiming to be all cash. Whether we are or not, we need to move fast. If I want a short sale bank to accept a lower price or an REO or any type of offer, it's got to be with a waiver of that mortgage contingency. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to wait 30, 45 days for a Fannie, Freddie, or FHA project. So the speed in which Patch can move makes a very big difference on whether or not I'm going to be able to get that deal. And once you have a relationship with a crowdfunder like Patch, I know what he needs. I know what he'll fund and what he won't fund, which means I have the confidence that I can waive that mortgage contingency. And waiving that mortgage contingency adds a more strength to my offer. And if my offer is beating out the next offer, then that's the name of the game.